All right, let's talk about the math. For Thursday, we looked at our Google Classroom, and I'm opening up mine here, and here's our distance learning class. Where you're going to find the assignment, since we gave you the assignment on Wednesday, that is going to be right here under Math on Wednesday. This is the weird thing about Google Classroom. Okay, it's a little bit difficult to use sometimes in that way, but it is what it is. All right. So School Invaders Distance Learning Worksheet, we did a rounding exercise yesterday, right? We did some number rounding, and we're going to do a little dance as we wait for this to open up. All right. And then some of you, this is the page 4 that we were working on. We're working on rounding numbers to the nearest 10 and rounding numbers to the nearest 100. All right. Some of the questions I got were that it was too small to see. So what you can do is hit View and Zoom to make things bigger. Some of you had issues with where to write your answers, right? So for example, if we look at, this is in our example, you'd be able to write your answer there if we're going to be rounding numbers to the nearest 10. Well, you're looking at the number. Here's the nearest 10, which is the 5, right? The 5. And then you're going to be looking at the number that's next to it, which is the 6. If it's 5 or more in the ones place to the nearest 10, 5 or more, you let it soar. So our nearest 10 answer here is going to be 60, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this. We have to round to the nearest 10. Okay, we have 572. Now, the nearest 10, the 10 spot, is the 7. So at the 7 here, you have to look at the number next to it, to the right. That is a 2. It's 5 or less, we let it rest because the 2 is less than 5. All right. And so we're going to make this number 570. Okay. So then you'd work on the rounding. Okay. And what you would do from here is you would put, anytime you'd see a 60, anytime you see a 60 up here, you'd put a letter R. Okay. Anytime you'd see a 570, you'd put a letter I, and so forth and so on. Okay, that was the goal, to do the rounding, okay, with that worksheet. That was Wednesday. Let's look at Thursday, place value. Okay, write the place value of the underlined digit. All right. So if you have a number, let's take a look. If you have a number, here's my little lesson. If you take a number, and let's just take the number, I'm going to write it over here in the corner. Let's just take 2,416. All right. So we have over here, we have our ones, our tens, our hundreds, and our thousands. Okay. Let's take a number like 4,168. All right. So we have our tens, our ones, my bad, our tens, our hundreds, and our thousands there. Okay. Let's take a number like 4,817. All right. Can you guys tell me which is the ones, which is the tens, the hundreds, and the thousands? All right, let's take a look. 7 is the ones, here's our tens, here's our hundreds, and here's our thousands. Okay, so if we were to look at this place value, take a look. Write the value of the underlined digit. Okay, so we're looking at the 3. that the value of that is actually, we have our ones, our tens, we have 5 ones, we have 5 ones, we have 5 ones, we have, whoops, we have 5 ones, no tens, and 3 hundreds. So our value of the underlying digit is 300. Okay, so let's take a look here. We've got our next number. What we have is 2,484. Okay, so we have 4 ones, 8 tens, 4 hundreds, and 2 thousands. All right, so the value of the underlying digit is not 2, but since we have 2 in that thousands place, we're going to say that value of the underlying digit is 2,000. Okay. Now let's take a look at this example right here. Let's take a look right there at this example. And let's just see if I can make that do that. Okay, cool. So we have the number 5,566. That means that underlined under that spot, you have, what's the value of the underlined number? It's in the ones place. But the value of that underlined number is simply, what is it? Well, it's simply 6. That is the value. Let's take a look at another one. Let's look at this as our example. Let's take a look at this one as our example here. And what we have is the number 2,263. All right, so let's take a look at that. 2,263. Okay, so the value of the underlying number, we have our ones, our tens, our hundreds, and our thousands. So we have 6 tens, or what could we say? Instead of 6 tens, we'd say 60. All right. All right, so hopefully that gives you an example and some of the help for that. Now, again, at the bottom, if I move my worksheet down, all my numbers are going to go there. It's going to get messy, but let's just see if we can slide this down a little bit. My numbers are still going to be there. Oh, whoa, take a look at that. That's awesome. Okay, so now what you'd be doing is anytime you'd see one of those numbers, like 60, you would be plugging it into our code. All right, so let me try to go up again. So 300. All right, so for the 300, it's going to go with the letter A. So anytime you saw a 300 down here, you're going to click into making that a text box. You click onto it, make that an A. Whoops, did it work? Of course it didn't. Technology, come on. All right, so anyway, if you click it and make it an A, it's going to work now. Didn't work. Oh, man. Well, anyway, should work for you. Seemed to work up above. Maybe because I've got pen mode. Probably. My computer's trying to think too hard. All right, so hopefully that explains what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at this place value clue 2. It is slide 5 of our slide deck for math. The School Invaders. Where did we find it? We found it here at math. Since I assigned it on a Wednesday, it's going to be on Wednesday's work. Okay, so when you look at the work for Thursday, It's just going to be a little announcement about with this YouTube video on it, where to find it. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Always reach out. Happy to help.